I'm an October killer. October 6th to the 26th is pretty much my time to shine, so to speak. The rut, I'm a terrible rut hunter. I'll see big deer, but seeing and killing, it's two different things. I'm primarily, like I said, a bed hunter. I hunt specific beds, specific times of the year. I kill them that dreaded October lull, I guess people call it. But to me, it's a very productive time because the bucks are consistent. They bed in certain areas, they're feeding in certain areas, and then once October 28th, 29 hits, their big boys are on their feet and they're 5 miles away, 6 miles away, and it pretty much becomes a crapshoot. You might be in a funnel and they might come by you or they might not. And to me, I don't like those odds. I like stacking the odds in my favor, knowing that this buck is bedding in this section of woods. You might have 3 or 4 beds, and I'll hunt, each one of those beds and hopefully catch them, sneaking in or sneaking out. I used to be about 100 yards, and every year I push the envelope closer and closer because some of these, around here the pressure is so high and baiting is legal in Jersey. So these deer, once they reach 3.5, it's pressure, extremely high pressure areas. 3.5-year-old buck is like probably a 5 or 6 somewhere else on the knowledge fact. Like they're so cautious, they don't make mistakes, and they just don't move much in daylight. So every season, I try and get a little bit closer, 5 yards closer. If I know a buck like this one that I found a couple years ago, I got my tree now pretty much 51 yards from his bed. Look.
Wow.
And pretty much if I get into the tree, I should be able to see him if he's there. But I've hunted that, and he always comes in, after dark. The evening sit, and 100 yards, 80, 75, it's just too far away. So that, these deer that are that old, they might even be traveling 50, 40 yards daylight. And a lot of times it's just within eyesight of that bed. Like they're sitting in that bed, they're going to travel. They might see 50 yards. That's as far as they're going to travel. Because he knows it's safe up there because he's been watching her all day. He's not going to go 100 yards because he don't know what's back. He's going to wait till dark because he knows it's safe. So it's a really aggressive tactic that it's a high risk, high reward. Usually a high risk, no reward. But when you get the reward, it's almost like clockwork because when he's coming in, like I'm primarily a better morning hunter. Like I kill deer coming into their beds, which people find crazy. It just seems to work for me. I mean, every one of my deer in the wall, except for 2, 3, have been morning kills. And it's from 7 to 7:30. And these bucks, they'll get within, I've watched them in the marsh, they'll get within 100 yards in daylight and sit there and wait. It's like they're almost waiting for people to shift around and do their things before they sneak into a bed. It's weird. And the same in the mountains. Like they come in 7:30, and I tell people this, and they look at me like I got 16 heads, but I got 4 or 5, footage of morning kills, and they're all time stamped 7:30. So whatever it is about that time, it doesn't matter where I'm hunting, either in the marsh, the big woods, or the mountains. That seems to be a time that mature deer are still up on their feet in the morning, which goes against a lot of what you're led to believe. Like, bucks are nocturnal; they don't move in the daylight. Yeah, I look at it. I read it like John Eberhart, his book that he had, Bow Hunting Pressured Whitetails, and he, hunts some of these rut staging areas, and he's in there like 3 hours before first light. And I started adopting that tactic. Like, I'll be out in the woods, I'll be quiet 2 hours before shooting light, just sitting there. And I look at it in this way. I can beat the deer to his bed. He might, I've had him come through at dark, and there's nothing you can do about it, but right. I've had them not come through dark. But in the evening, like I said, they don't have to move from their bed. In the morning, they want to get to that bed, and there's a good chance I can beat them to his bed for the most part. I've been set up, 3 hours, 3.5 hours actually on this one buck trying to catch him because I know he was beating me there, so I kept getting there super early. And he was so nocturnal, 3 hours before first light, he's coming into this bed, and he would never leave. I would sit all day. He would never leave. He'd get up, mill around, bed back down. He would never leave. You know, he was so wary. He wasn't even a big deer, and maybe he's old or whatever, but he was just so crafty that he would stay on these little islands. I watched him. You know, I had him come through in the morning, and I had him come through at night, like during the rut, like when you think bucks are all running around.
Yeah.
Nope. This guy was worried about living. So.